The man pretended to be drinking coffee, but the cup was full of soil. Taking advantage of no one's notice, he poured all the soil into the trash can. Every time they dug out soil before, the prisoners would put it into backpacks, then swagger to the second-floor cell, and transport it to the gap in the roof through the hole. But as time went on, the gap was almost full. They were discussing solutions when the prison guards launched a surprise inspection. Two people turned around and ran to the cell. Because there were still companions in the tunnel at that time, they hurried back to the cell to report the news. But the space in the tunnel was too narrow, and the companions really couldn't make it in time. The prison guards outside the room began to wreak havoc, and ordered everyone to go out. Jim found that his companions hadn't come out yet, so he had to stand up to stop the prison guards. He pushed a guard hard, and the prisoners standing behind were not to be outdone either. The scene instantly became a mess. Of course, the prisoners with bare hands were no match for the guards, and they were quickly knocked down. But this also bought enough time for the companions in the tunnel. They blocked the hole with stones, then filled all the gaps with paste, and even moved a table to block it. In order not to arouse the guards' suspicion, they also needed to wipe off the soil on their bodies. At this time, the guards came to their cell. He threw all the items on the ground, and even climbed up to the attic. He was attracted by the poster on the wall. The guard's hand had already touched the ceiling, but at the critical moment, a colleague appeared and called him away. Only then did everyone escape the disaster, but they still received punishment. Everyone took off their clothes and squatted in the sun. Jim, who took the lead in making trouble, was also locked in a dark room. This still couldn't stop them. To speed up the escape, they decided to find more people to join them. This greatly increased the risk of being discovered, so they adopted a shift system. They could dig for at least 8 hours a day. In order not to be noticed by others, every shift change required careful cleaning of the whole body, not even sparing the nail seams. But as the tunnel continued to deepen, there was a lack of oxygen inside. Prisoners on shifts fainted inside. To solve this problem, Jim used the escape as a condition to get a motor. Then, when the lawyer visited, he brought in extra long plastic bags. He made them into a ventilation pipe, ensuring the circulation of air inside. The problem of lack of oxygen was solved. Everyone was looking forward to the success of the plan. On this day, they heard a strange sound similar to an earthquake. Fortunately, the earthquake only lasted for a while, but the guards found that the number of people was wrong, so they pretended to have sprained their ankles, thus avoiding the guards' suspicion. The man discovered a strange oil painting. The paint on it seemed to be still wet. Curious, he reached out and touched it. But when he got home, he found that the paint wouldn't wash off no matter what. The tired man didn't pay much attention. However, when he woke up the next day, he saw that the area of the paint had spread, and he could faintly hear a noise coming from his fingers. He hurriedly asked his roommate to check, but the other person didn't hear any sound. The man thought he was overthinking, so he went to the laundry room to get some detergent and washed again. This time, it still didn't work. As he was thinking about how to deal with it, he saw a cleaner waiting outside. After the cleaner saw the man's fingers, she hurriedly told him to cut off the yellowed fingers. The man was shocked and quickly left. He complained about this to his roommate. Both of them just laughed it off. However, the next day, he found that his entire palm had turned yellow. What's worse, a harsh noise kept coming from his hand. The man remembered what the cleaner had said. He decided to cut off his hand, but he never mustered the courage. Angry, the man rushed into the corridor to question the cleaner. The cleaner quickly explained to him. It turned out that she had seen this painting 20 years ago. At that time, the paint on the painting was also wet. She not only touched the oil painting, but also played a prank by smearing the paint on her sister's face. Later, the paint spread wider and wider. To be on the safe side, she cut off her own fingers, but her sister wasn't so lucky. In the end, she disappeared without a trace. Until a few days ago, this painting appeared again. She accidentally saw her sister in the painting. The smart woman realized what the problem was. The man planned to destroy the oil painting directly. The cleaner tried her best to stop him. During the struggle, her ear was stabbed. Realizing he had made a mistake, the man ran away quickly. But after a while, he found that the noise around him was getting more and more harsh. At this time, the man's arm had turned completely yellow. The scenery around him was the same as in the painting. Could it be that he had entered the world in the painting? Suddenly, the man saw the cleaner's sister. He hurried to chase her, but when he ran over, he found the woman was gone. Then the harsh noise rang out again. Eager to get rid of all this, the man finally decided to cut off his arm. At the same time, the roommate found that the man was missing. He accidentally saw the oil painting too. There was an armless figure added in the painting. The paint was still dripping down. The roommate curiously touched it. Looking at the paint on his fingertips, and thinking of the familiar figure in the painting, he felt that something was wrong. A few days later, the cleaner stood in front of the oil painting. She showed a strange smile. It turned out that another figure had been added in the painting.